Let's start by looking back to Monday, January 22nd, 11:12 p.m. I walk into my house, juggling my keys, my book bag, and the remnants of a 32-ounce gas station soda that has long been since consumed. Walking into my house, my mom says out her bedroom door, "Levi, where have you been?" My mind instantly races over the events of my day. I was at school at 6 for weightlifting, showered, went to the cafeteria to work on my online classes. Then it was off to college music appreciation and American writings for me. I finally had a study hall, which I spent running around, doing dance marathon stuff, running forms to elementary, talking to my FBLA advisor, and then I was finally able to bring my lunch back to Miss Stevens' room to study for a chemistry quiz. Then it was off to chemistry and algebra 2 for me. Once the bell rang at 3:10, I raced out to my truck to grab my clothes to change so I can make it into my 4 o'clock shift at a grocery store in Clinton. Busy, I told my mom. I've been busy. Busy is a phrase we all use. We say it countless times a day in response to a variety of different questions. What have you been up to lately? Oh, I've been busy. Want to grab a pizza? Can't, I'm busy. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, busy as usual. We all say it, but what exactly is our compulsion, and why are we as Americans so addicted to it? While my day might sound a little extreme, at Northeast we have 282 high school students, and of those students, 90% of them are involved in an extracurricular activity or have a job of some sort. It all comes down to a simple equation. School plus a job plus student involvement equals times away from friends and family and even less time for leisure activities. We offer 15 different clubs and 10 athletic activities and countless employment opportunities in the surrounding communities. So why do we do it? One answer is because we feel pressured into doing so. From our friends who sign up to go out for football, to our parents who tell us, you need to start paying for things, you have a car now, you need to pay for it. To our teachers, you need to get this assignment done because we have a lot more material to cover. To our guidance counselors, you should take these college classes now because it'll save yourself money in the future. You do want to go to college, right? Well, if you do, you better get your grades up. Oh, and here's an ACT catalog. Yes, I know you're a freshman, but students start taking these when they're in 8th grade now. You do want to get a good score, right? If you don't, you can kiss those scholarships goodbye. It's a lot. And while we are smart enough to know that our future doesn't hinge on one extracurricular or one grade, it can sometimes feel that way. So we schedule ourselves to the point where all of our days blur together in one catch-all word, busy. Students are not the only ones who feel the pressure of being busy. It has crept into our family life as well. I vaguely remember a time as a child where I sat and had dinner with my family and then spent time with them in the living room. The living room has now become the dumping grounds for all the things we no longer have time for. Pieces to the Monopoly game we never finished. Magazines we just throw on the table but never read. Face-to-face conversations, sadly now are conversations that we have to use a rearview mirror for while devouring French fries out of a grease-soaked bag. Long gone are the scheduled meal times. Instead, we substituted it for a sports practice schedule of one another. I heard a story once while writing this of a local baseball team, second graders who have a coach that previously played professional baseball. A professional coach for second graders. And yet, that's what it takes to stay ahead. Competition is fierce, driving parents to dish out for the dance team, the gymnastics team, the insert whatever activity you want team. I mean, you have to, right? Their future depends on it. If you don't start now, how will they ever be ready to play varsity? How will they ever be ready to get a scholarship? How will they be ready to take the ACT in 7th grade? Because if kids are taking it in 8th grade now, mine better start in 7th. Our drive to always be doing something is getting passed on. The stress on families is evident. I mean, look at the planner of any mom who has kids. In it, you'll find haircuts, doctor's appointments, sports schedules, and if she's lucky, a single square with something for herself. Because good parents are just as involved as their students. They're members of the boosters, they run concession stands, they pack team lunches for away games, and they act as a relay driver to get their kids from one event to the next. And like kids who feel pushed to the brink, parents sometimes snap as well, more and more commonly in a public place. We all have been to a basketball game where that one parent is screaming at his kid for missing an easy pass, and then at the coach for taking him out to punish him for his mistake. We instantly step back, not wanting to be associated with that dad. But deep down, we feel the same way. Hours spent traveling states away for travel tournaments, early mornings in the weight room, all come down to an easy mistake. One missed pass and your son is riding the bench, just like those who didn't make the sacrifices. I mean, who wouldn't be upset? All that time wasted. Somewhere in the last 20 years, parents have assumed the managerial responsibilities of their children's future. They've always felt some responsibility for their success, but this has grown into creating it. It is now the parents putting together the National Honor Society applications, and in a twist of irony, forging their children's signature on it. Or typing emails of pleading to teachers about a grade, begging that their son or daughter be allowed to retake a test. Kids of these parents are ones I mentioned before. Ones who strive just to get 1 point higher in the ACT or just to get one more extracurricular on their resume. When the kids can't do anymore, the parents simply step in to pick up the slack. By doing this, we have created a monster that cannot be shoved back under the bed. We can't stop now because somewhere out there, there's someone who isn't stopping, and their son or daughter is getting ahead. Take a second to think of all the college students you know. How many have you seen go off to college and then move back home after the first semester to a community college or even quit altogether? These 4.0 involved in everything students come soon to realize that they are expected to be just as busy as they were in high school, except their parents aren't around to fill in the gaps. While they may have felt some pressure in high school sports or speech, it is nothing compared to the pressure that they feel in the college classroom, where things are expected to be done on time the first time. By teaching our kids to only take on things they can reasonably do, we are setting them up for failure, something none of them have ever felt before. So maybe you aren't a parent. You don't have kids. I bet you still feel the stress of being busy at your job. As I mentioned before, I work at a grocery store. Yes, it isn't a high-paying job, and no lives hang in the balance, but it is still stressful, especially with the constant hour cuts. Driven by profit quotas, managers frequently send people home early or don't fill shifts when someone calls in. This creates an almost frantic pace on the floor with constant complaining. We can't do it all, we're all too busy, but the complaints go unnoticed. My job isn't any different from any of yours. We always have more work to do than what we can accomplish. Just think of what you need to get done in an 8-hour day. Is it even doable, or does your to-do list just never get done? Most of us are so busy trying to play catch-up at work that we don't have time to focus on the aspects of the job that were once important to us, or that we might be able to do better only if we had the time to try. Several years ago, Google has created a 20% concept, where it told its employees to spend 20% of their time on a project that would benefit the company in one way. Through this time, Gmail and Google News were created, products that almost all of us use every day. So imagine if employers would spend less time clogging email boxes and less time calling pointless meetings, but more time encouraging creativity, what we could accomplish as a society. Even though being busy stresses us out, we as Americans wouldn't want it any other way. Being busy has become the new status quo. The busier you are, the better you are. We feel like that we make more personal sacrifices than our colleague just because we are busy. We are the ones who always sign up to take the overtime, who drags their laptop and files home on the weekend to work on a project. You come in early, stay late, let your vacation roll over to the next year, promising to take an even longer vacation and to go someplace warm. But even if this sun-soaked beach chair of our imagination becomes a reality, you will still find us taking a client call or responding to emails. Why? Because we like feeling so important that we can't even take an afternoon to relax on the beach. In a report published in Business Insider, 25% of people check their email hourly while they are on vacation, and 59% of people do so on holidays such as Christmas and Thanksgiving. The driving factor to being busy is, of course, technology. We now have the capability to do work from our phone, which is both a blessing and a nightmare. We love having access to our email, but once we open our emails, we have to do something about the problems lurking within. Technology has also created the ability to document our every waking moment. We like getting likes, which translate to doing even more. After all, nobody wants to see us sit at home. They want to see us go out to the new clubs and go camping. We feel pressure to document the weekends, try the new food at the restaurant, or go out every night snapping pictures with our friends. Monday morning hits us full force, and we're upset that yet again we didn't have time to relax. So the purpose of this talk isn't to give you tips on how to be less busy. Because while most of us romanticize life away from it, we secretly don't want it. Being busy gives us something to complain about, and let's be honest, who doesn't love that? But also, being busy makes us feel like that we're getting ahead in life. Yet no matter how much we add to our schedule, it is never enough. But the most important thing being busy is to cover our inequities. We are constantly in a cycle where we feel like that we're not good enough. But yet it's almost like being busy is an excuse for it. I'm too busy to work out, too busy to apply for a different job. We use it as a blanket, shielding ourselves from the harsh reality of not being good enough. So working through this process brought that day in January into perspective. Everything I did that day was for my future. College classes, to save myself tuition down the line. Weightlifting, to get in shape for a sport 8 months away. A job, to help build my resume and put money into a savings account. Everything I did that day was for the future. So I guess the next time my mom asks me, "Where have you been?" I should reply with, "Trying to keep up with everyone else around me who seems like that they're further ahead." Or maybe it should be trying to have control over a future that I have little or no control over. But those just take too much time. Busy, I'll have to tell her. I've been busy. Thank you.